you. Thanks for coming along. Not such a big turnout tonight, which is understandable. There's a lot of illness going around, including flus, in addition to COVID. So I suppose I would imagine you've all been in a situation where you've had family members that are sick. So we're getting through as best we can. It's been an interesting term 1 and 2. We've been very lucky as a school. I talked to a lot of other principals, etc., and many schools are having a very hard time. We've been very lucky in minimal disruption. My name's Mr. Jeffrey, if you're unaware. I look after the Year 11 and 12 at the moment. We have many staff here who I'll introduce in a moment that can answer your questions at the end and a few speakers. Before we begin, I would just like to acknowledge the land that we meet on today as the traditional lands of the Wajak people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Wajak people as the traditional owners of the greater Wairup area, and that their cultural and heritage roots are still important to the living Wajak people today. Right, without further ado, we'll get on with it. It's a bit of information overload today. There's a lot of information. Don't worry too much about that. You're not going to remember all of it, or you don't even need to, because there's a lot of this we worry about. So we are the ones that really delve into the students' grades, whether they're on track, their certs, their waste tracker, etc. And we monitor that, and we guide the kids, and we talk to you at the time. So it's really pointed at me. I'll point out today really the key thing that I want you to remember, and we'll do that in a moment. All right, we'll go ahead with it. So today we want to try and understand the WACE and how that works, so the West Australian Certificate of Education, how to support your child through Year 11 and 12, so you're on the home stretch, final 100 metres, and the process for course selection for this year for your child. Now I'm going to skip through these ones because this is all to do with the jobs market, etc., and I don't want to lecture you about that. One of the best and only great things I've seen as a political promise was the placement in schools of a career professional. So Rebecca, if you just stand up for a moment. Rebecca McClellan is what we call our career practitioner. So Rebecca is doing extraordinary amounts of work with the students at the moment on careers. And I've never seen students get such benefit from this knowledge and understanding that we're leading into picking courses. So you've all heard the stuff about, tomorrow's jobs, or today, etc. 20 years ago, I still quite haven't seen it. I'm still waiting for that to happen. I don't quite believe that stuff, but I'm getting old and cynical. So we'll skip through this. I don't really want to go into this too much because Rebecca is the expert. But these are apparently the projected employment growth areas. Would you agree with that, Rebecca? Rebecca agrees with that. So healthcare and social assistance, construction, education and training, professional, scientific and technical, accommodation and food. We think in terms of clusters of skills. So you all know your child. I've got one child who's very artistic, is all artistic in all feelings, and another child is all scientific and all logic. So we think in terms of clusters of, when you think of your child, where do they fit? What sort of person are they? What is their leaning? Technologies, carer, informer, coordinator, designer, artisan, etc. So we think in terms of clusters of skills. It's hard to think, well, what do I want to do or be when I get older? But who am I as a person, and what's my general disposition and strength? There's a couple of websites, but we're going to direct you towards some better ones. All right, so just quickly, many of you may already know this, that students at the end of year 12, it's a 2-year course, year 11 and 12, and you'll get a statement of their WASA, which is the West Australian Statement of Student Achievement. So whether your child passes or fails or anything in between, it's just a statement of everything they studied and their result. Okay, pathways. This is the bit I want you to remember. So when you think of your child and when you think of those clusters of skills, what's really important for you guys to discuss with your child is what pathway you think best suits them. So for next year, we've got your traditional sort of ATAR pathway, so that's for direct entry into university. Now we all know that universities are providing a lot of alternatives at the moment and different ways to get into university. So really what we want is for your child, or for those that pick ATAR, it's because they really do enjoy studying, they like the challenge, they want to do those subjects in that way, and they want to test themselves and they want to get those scores, and they're that way inclined. It's really important because ATAR is long and difficult, and there are other ways into uni. So unless they're intrinsically motivated and really want to do it, you're not going to be able to drag them kicking and screaming to doing that. Then we're adding in what's called a Curtin Uni Ready course. So that's going to be an alternative university entry course for students that want to go to uni but they're just struggling with those ATAR, the difficulty of the ATAR courses that are on offer. So it's about, out of that you get about a 70 ATAR, and you can get into Curtin University, Murdoch University and Edith County University. That's going to be a terrific course, that's part of the grid, but we really only want students, I can think of my son fits the bill perfectly. He's about middle of the road, he gets about C's, he gets about B's, he's really smart in many ways, but doesn't like to write, he gets, all that sort of stuff, you know what it's like. So you really want your child to be in the right pathway. So have a think about this carefully. Then there's the general mainstream pathway, which is your general courses. Okay, and that's for students that don't necessarily know if they want to go to university or not, or don't really want to, or they're looking at a trade, they're unsure, just want to stay in school and get their ways and do the general pathways. And then we've got Vocational, which I've got people here to tell you a bit about in a moment, where it's a mixture of school and TAFE and work. Right? That's the key takeaway tonight, really, is where does my child fit? So for next year, your child will be working on getting their ways. Okay, let's not on that. All right. The big thing is getting through year 11 and 12. So a child has to do 20 units, okay, and each unit is worth a pair. So if you do English in year 11, it's actually it's a pair, okay? So it's worth, if you get C's, you get 2 C's. If you get a B, you get 2 B's, all right? So if you do 5 subjects in year 11 and 5 in year 12, that equals 20 units. It's a bit silly, isn't it? And a bit confusing, but that's how it is. To get through to year 12, you have to get 8 C's in year 11. And then once you're in year 12, you have to get 6 in order to get your ways. So 14 C's altogether to get your ways. 8 in year 11, 6 in year 12. That's the minimum. And you must pass your honours. So that's the literacy competency, literacy and numeracy. It's a reading and writing and numeracy test, similar to NAPLAN. It's a bit easier than NAPLAN, I think, to pass honour at the level required. So the NAPLAN equivalent is level A, but honour is, I think, more achievable than that. So you've got to pass your honour and get those C complement. I'm going to give this. The content and course and assessment for year 11 and 12 is dictated by SCASA, which is the authority or the curriculum authority in Western Australia. So the content is very much set, and the teachers follow the content, and the assessment is very strict and very guided, except in terms of a teacher's creativity and instructional practice. Most teachers do wonderful pedagogical practices to get that content into the brain and onto the page, so you're not restricted by that. There's externally set tasks. All along there's assessments that students must do set by SCASA. At the moment there's some complicating factors with the Australian body of CARA doing a review of curriculum, and all the states are fighting with them about what should be in and out, and there's a lot of external assessment, and the universities are offering early offers as well. So schools are being pulled a bit in all directions, and there's not a lot of coherence for them. So we sort of need the ministers to fix that up, but we're dealing with what we can, and which is just trying to get your child through the ways and into university or into a job or into a pathway in the future that they want to be in. Certificates, I might leave that to you guys to explain in a moment. Alright, everyone's had their child just through OLNA recently, so you would have got those results. They get another chance to do it because of COVID in June and in September, and in year 11 and in year 12, twice in year 11 and twice in year 12. So we pull out all the stops to get them through. We'll be doing, we set up an OLNA class in year 11. We have a lot of individual coaching, a lot of specialist classes to help them out, and a lot of practice. Right, I'll put this up just as an example, just quickly, so here we go. Okay, so if you focus on here, so that's hypothetical child John Smith in year 11, does English, maths, woodwork, art, Cert 2 in music and drama. So they've done a total of 12 units, but remember that, because they're pairs, so they've done 6, but they're pairs, so it becomes 12. John Smith needs 8 C's to go through to year 11. So he's got a pair of B's there, so it's a pair, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then the cert counts as a pair as well. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. He's got his 10 C's, no problem, goes through to year 12. In year 12, we noticed that John Smith passed his cert 2. He got a C in drama, but failed it in year 11, but then pulled himself up and passed art. So then we just count that in isolation, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 C's. He's got a total of 20 C grades or above, which is well more than the 14 required, and gets his place. Okay? So that's just a real life example I thought I'd put up. In terms of someone that just scrapes through, you can see that this person has failed 2 subjects but passed their cert, so that's worth a pair of C's in each year, so that's very important if you do a cert. And you can see they've got their 8 C complement and 6 C complement there, just passes and just gets their marks. So there's quite a bit of latitude, really. Does everyone know how ATAR works? Who has a child that's hoping to do ATAR? Okay. So the ATAR, many of you may know, it's a ranking. So what they do is they get all the scores of all the kids in the state, and they rank them from top to bottom, and then your score is actually where you rank. So if I got 70% on average, I might have got in the top 20% of kids in the state, so I'll get an 80 ATAR, not 70. The percentage doesn't really matter. It matters, as in it matters for where you're ranked. So it's a ranking. So last year and the year before and the year before that, about 60% in most courses got you a 70 or above 80. So depending on what you do, because if you do methods or specialists, the scaling is a bit higher. But you usually rank about 10 to 15 points higher than your actual score in the test. So when some people get a bit of a shock in year 11 and 12 when the children are doing the work's a lot harder, and they're coming out with 55 and 50% and 58% and 65%, and parents get really worried. But we're not too worried about that, because over year 11 and 12 they generally improve, get a bit better, and what counts is that exam. And if they're around 65, 70% of the exam, they tend to get a pretty good yes, so you can see here, a score of 96 just means that the person was in the top 4% of people in the state. All right, I'm going to hand over to Kelly Martelli and Kelly Lee over here. These are part of our wonderful vet team who are going to talk about Vocational. But again, what I mainly want you to think about tonight with all of this information is that being your child and talking to them and being really realistic about what pathway they should be in. Because success is critical. There's no point in me failing in a course, being in the wrong course for who and what I am. Because at the end of the day, it all works out in the end. Many people, more people are in university from alternative pathways. People grow and develop at different rates in terms of intellectual maturity. I have a friend who failed school and uni and then went on to just dominate a PhD and is now a professor at one of the big universities in America. Everyone just reaches their place in time. So the important thing now is just doing what your child will enjoy, will cope with, and can pass. And so the take home today really is about the pathways, and we'll put this on the website, and we'll be speaking to your kids and counselling your kids a lot between now and next term about those pathways and making sure they're the right way. Right, I'll hand over to Kelly and Kelly. And I'll tell you about Vocational.
Hi, I'll introduce myself as Kelly Martelli. I'm mostly in charge of the certificates, tracking students' data for their race achievement, and Kelly is mostly involved in the workplace component. Just got a short video to get you to think how much vet knowledge you actually have.
So what is the average full-time income for a vocational education and training graduate?
Somewhere between 20 and 25,000 a year.
Fortunately, for those people who do those courses, you are completely and utterly wrong. The median for a vet graduate is actually $55,000 a year, which is quite comparable to a university graduate. So do we need to go to university to get jobs at places like PwC?
True.
No, you're wrong. The answer is actually false. More and more large corporations are focusing on merit-based employment as opposed to specific qualifications. What characteristics of a young person are better suited to a vet qualification? Yeah.
Someone unable to get into uni.
Well, that's a fairly common misconception. In fact, it's more about preferred learning styles. More kids would be academically gifted if they got the opportunity to learn in their preferred style of learning. Of the top 10 occupations that are projected to add the most jobs to the economy by May 2022, how many of them are actually going to be vet qualifications?
About 5 at the most?
Well, vet qualifications actually get 10 out of 10 for the future job market. Who now thinks they should take a better look at vocational education and training before they offer their kids advice? Excellent. Well done. Thank you very much.
Okay, just to introduce what actually is VocLinks. So this year, 2022, we started a new initiative where we have 2 classes, VocLinks classes. One is the Year 11 class, one is the Year 12, with 25 students in each. We believe it's going to be extremely successful because we've lost 3 students already. Doesn't sound great, but it certainly is. We've 2 of our students have gone and entered plumbing apprenticeships, and one's entered an apprenticeship as an electrician. So they haven't even finished their TAFE qualification, but it's due to mostly their work experience and all of the employability skills that employers are actually looking for. So all the things like we talked to the kids about, turning up, following instructions, showing initiative, having the right attitude. So really important, we're really pleased about that. So VocLinks provides students opportunities to actually participate in some sort of vocational course and also a workplace learning. What it consists of is 3 days at school, so that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where the students study 4 general courses, and then Thursday and Friday they do external programs, which is a huge variety. Currently, not just external programs, but we have students enrolled over Year 11 and 12 in over 230 qualifications. So it's a lot. So the 2 days that they go out, some of the students will spend 2 days at TAFE, because that's what the course that they're doing involves. Some will spend 1 day at TAFE and 1 day in the workplace. Others will spend 2 days in the workplace because they're doing a school-based traineeship or a pre-apprenticeship in schools. It's totally different for each student. We have 25 students in the class. There is an application process and everything counts towards WACE. I know Mr Jeffries was saying certificates are they're actually worth more than a general course. So a general course is worth 2 C grades. Certificate course, a Cert 2 is actually worth 4 C grade equivalents, and a Cert 3 and 4 is worth 6. So, and workplace learning is an endorsed program, and you can earn up to 4 units there as well. So they're a big contributing factor towards WACE. We do have a criteria for students entering the VocLinks, and that's solely because we want them to succeed. So they have to complete a VocLinks application form. We will make these available to the Year 10s. We will be going around to every Year 10 class and chatting to the students about different courses that are available to them next year in VocLinks. And we also have application forms here. We will put them on our website, so there's lots of different ways. Or students can drop in to Upper School Student Services and see any of us and they can get an application form. There's a part on that for students to fill out and a part for parents, because parents are a big part in students' courses being successful or not. So we feel that's a great way to start conversations as well. Students need 85% or attendance and above, because we find if they don't have that, then it's very hard for them to succeed and prove themselves in a workplace, keep up with TAFE work, etc. And then there's a list of desirable things. Now we say that because we know there are students that are going to not have 2 of their honours, that are going to receive C and D grades in Year 10. We don't exclude them, we help them to apply for TAFE courses, but that's out of our hands apart from helping them with personal statements and resumes, things like that. But one of our last year's Year 10 boys is one of the ones that picked up a plumbing apprenticeship. Now, he wasn't even doing a pre-apprenticeship at TAFE because he didn't get into TAFE because his grades were not competitive enough. But the TAFE course that he got into, which was fishing, he wasn't overly interested in, but he decided he'd rather do that. And then the other day that he had, the Friday, Miss Lee found him a workplace with a plumber, and that's where he's picked up an apprenticeship. So it was solely his attitude. He wasn't even enrolled in a pre-app. So workplace is really important. And we don't, if they don't meet this criteria, we don't say, well, sorry, too bad, we're not going to help you. We wouldn't say that to any student. Okay, a USI. We love and hate USIs, probably mostly hate them, but they're a necessity, just like taxes. They stand for a unique student identifier. Any student that's doing a certificate, whether it be at school, whether it be at TAFE, no matter where it is, and this is throughout their life, they have to have a USI. It's a 10-digit combination of letters, numbers. Takes less than 5 minutes to create under usi.gov. The best form of identification that you can use, we've found, is a Medicare card, but you can use your passport or birth certificate. If your student is having problems creating this, come and see us and we will help them. But they must have this before they, we can't put through a TAFE application without a student actually having a USI. So it's something, if they're thinking of doing a TAFE course, get them on, get them doing that. You only create one in your life, so don't lose it. It's even harder if they get it wrong. I can't bring up and verify it, it's all Privacy Act. So tell them to get it, do screenshots with their mobiles, take a picture of it. It's important. Okay, so students can do qualifications at school. We offer quite a range of those. They can do them at TAFE, North Metro or South Metro. They can do them through a private RTO. We have students that gain scholarships that are worth $10,000 of training, or they do a fee for service, like a Cert 3 or 4 at Fremantle Education Centre, or a nursing cert at Health Science Hub, or they can do a school-based traineeship where they go to a workplace and they get paid for that, or they can do a pre-apprenticeship in schools as well. Okay, some important things I think are great for you to know about TAFE. First of all, the places in TAFE programs are not guaranteed. There are literally thousands more students that apply than they have positions for. TAFE courses offers are decided by TAFE lecturers, not by us. When we help a student do a TAFE application, we need to include their latest report, a goal statement. We help them with that. The better that is, the greater the chance of them getting a place. They have to include, what else is there? A CV and form of personal identification. Some TAFE courses are competitive. Some of the big ones are electrotechnology, animal studies, cabin crew and nursing. So students can do a Cert 4 in nursing for free through South Metro TAFE. But there are 2 classes WA-wide, okay, not many. So students that apply, and we have had students last year successful and this year successful doing that. I'll tell you now, pretty much 18 students in Year 10, because it is a very hard course. It basically, with English competency, gives them an ATAR of 70 to then go on and do nursing at another university. So it is competitive. Students who don't secure and maintain a VET TAFE training placement are re-counselled into a general pathway. So if one of your children say to you, I really want to follow the VET pathway, they'll fill out an application form, we will interview them, we then put their TAFE applications in. We don't find out if they've got into around towards the end of October. So if they don't get in and we can't find an alternative course for them, which we'll try really hard, then they may have to be re-counselled and go into a general course. And it's important to note, students can only do one government-funded TAFE course, okay? Department of Training and Workforce Development fund these TAFE courses. They can do a certificate course at school, but TAFE only fund one. So we have had students that have chosen in Year 11 a one-year particular TAFE course. They've completed it, but they've said, oh, but I really want to do this different one in Year 12. Note that will not be funded. Okay? There are courses that students can pay for though. Okay, I've quickly said that students need all of those things, so when the TAFE applications open, if students have all that ready, the applications are a lot quicker to go through. The biggest thing, please follow Connect, okay? That is where we put notices. Currently we have solutions for plumbing that have been on there for over a week now. They all have dates when things finish. We have to have them in by those dates. We're happy to help any student with applications, but please follow Connect because that's where we put all our notices. All Year 10 students are on the Year 10 cohort, and then 10 and 11 students are also on another one, which is vocational opportunities. And we're posting things on both at the moment. Okay, there's just an absolute tiny snippet of what's available. So all I can say is, Miss Lee is going to talk about work placement now, but if you remember, as Mr. Jeffrey said, that you do get bombarded. We'll be here afterwards to answer any questions, but we are always available via emails, phone calls, send your child to us in H Block, Upper School Student Services. We will organise a time to talk to them about anything. We can talk to you about it. We're really here to help you, so please ask us. Thank you.
Hi, so other Kelly lady. So workplace learning is what I primarily oversee. Workplace learning, it's work experience, and it's just so valuable for the students' futures post-school. I love it, that's why I do it. They would spend at least one day a week in the workplace, and I have a logbook. The logbook will actually be where they record the hours that they attend, as well as answer questions that help them reflect on their experiences in the workplace, the tasks that they've carried out, and even monitor their progress as well with feedback from the employers. All of this completed logbook with 55 hours in it can contribute to basically 1 C grade. And they can get a maximum of 4 over years 11 and 12. So, huge contributor to WACE and achievement by the end of Year 12. The biggest thing though that it will assist with the students, and it will equip them with the employability skills and the attitudes that are valued in the workplace. Like Kelly mentioned, those 3 students that have all attained their apprenticeships before the Easter holidays, that's not based on any formal qualification they've got, that's purely on their hard work ethic and their attitudes in the workplace. So as long as the students learn to develop these skills and to really meet the requirements of the workplace, they'll attain success every time. Like Kel mentioned too, the program itself doesn't have an application process. We've got some of those forms here with us tonight if you'd like to grab one. They are designed to evoke conversation with you and your child. Like Mark mentioned earlier, these conversations are going to help the students to set these goals. And by setting goals, they've got something to work towards and to succeed post-school. But yeah, if you've got any questions, we're around.
Sorry, I always forget things. We also have available a list, it's a very short list of South Metro TAFE offerings that came out last year that are happening this year, and North Metropolitan TAFE. I cannot guarantee all the courses will be available. We don't have the new list, it has not been published, but it's at least something you can think about and exactly talk with your child about. They are often released, well, they tell us when they think they're going to be released, which is not usually at the time, but they should come around early July, we're hoping, and there is a closing date, has been the last 2 years, the 31st of August. That is it. Can't put in any late applications. So when you see the TAFE courses published, please get your students, your child to come and see us, okay, and we'll help them with the application. So those lists are here if you want to take one home and have a look over it. Thank you.
Kelly, can I just ask?
Yes.
My oldest son was here at Sale.
Yep.
Is it with TAFE courses now that they can choose 3 different ones? So if they don't get the first option, they can get the second or
That's a
third?
good question. It used to be, now it's down to two.
Down to 2.
Two options. And if they want to do engineering fabrication,
Okay.
which you can do at Rockingham and Thornley, that would be 2 choices. So your particular campus you want to apply for is 1 choice. So really important they think, just like your ATAR TISC applications for uni courses, you put down first the one you really want to do. Because if you get that and you turn it down, there's no guarantee you'll get the second one. Okay? Thanks.
Oh, I missed
Sorry.
those. Oh, yeah. That was, can we go back? These are our students this year. And they're having an absolute ball. And as you can see, employers, so supportive of our students in the workplace. They love having them there, having a great time, and just, yeah, that's just slides of success.
Okay. Let's see. All right, guys. So my name is Katina Signa. You would have gotten numerous emails from me. I'm the associate principal for year 9 and 10, and so I'm going to bring you through the what we do. So this is our timeline. I don't think this is working, but I think it's working. Term 2, week 1. On the first day that they came back, we already gave them their pathways, the potential pathways that they could explore for next year. And this was at assembly. In week 3, Kelly came up and spoke with them about problems because we know there's crunch time there, there's deadlines, etc., and things are starting to be urgent now. So after this, next week, myself and the vet team, we're going to go into classes and we're going to introduce that again to students because they require numerous, points of interjection for them to really get what it is to do. And then in week 8 actually is when the year 10s have the exams. The exams are only for kids who are in the ATAR prep program and in the GATE program at the moment. And these are kids who are potentially going to be choosing the ATAR courses for next year. If your child is in a general class at the moment, but you feel like they really could possibly do an ATAR program, they need to register that they have this interest with the HOLAs, because the HOLAs will then consult with their teachers to see whether they are actually prepared for the rigor that ATAR brings. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to introduce to some of the HOLAs. So we have 3 of the HOLAs here. We have Ms. Krop, English HOLA, Ms. Dirk, our math HOLA, and Mr. Hassani, our HAS HOLA. So if you have any particular issues in that particular subject, these are the people to see. In week 9, all of our HOLAs and our teachers in charge will be going around to all the different year 10 classes, and they will explain each course that's available. So, for example, Ms. Dirk will say that there are a number of different types of math that you can choose in year 11, and she'll explain each one. It covers both ATAR courses and the general courses as well. So that will happen in week 9. So really right after exam, concluding the semester with their reports, etc., that's when they know. So the students will know at that point in time, hey, am I getting the right grades for me to be successful in applying for particular subjects, for example. And then in week 1, we will have an ATAR recommendation list. All right, so the students who are in the ATAR prep program, for example, but if they haven't been doing very well, then they will not be part of the list, okay? And that will be confirmed in week 1, again with the HOLAs based on their grades, their NAPLAN results, etc. Term 3, week 2, Thursday, and we pass it then to you guys, because that's when the subject selection online will be made live. You and your child will make choices based on the conversations you've already had. So that first bit there, we talked about ATAR recommendation list. So we have an ATAR recommendation list that is really based on their grades, and that's why it doesn't happen until after you guys get all your grades. NAPLAN year 7, because did they do a year 9 one last year? Yes, they did. Sorry, year 9. They are all now, which results are already in, attendance, and the whole recommendation based on their aptitude and work ethic. And so if your child is successful, has been recommended for ATAR, you will be notified. You will also be notified if your child is recommended for ATAR pathway. If you wish to do ATAR, but you have not been recommended, then there will be a counselling process. So we'll go through it. So you'll choose a general pathway course, because some of our courses are very popular and we don't want your child to miss out because we're waiting for an ATAR application. And then you'll submit a special consideration form for ATAR to Mark Jeffrey, who will be handling all the ATAR selection. And then you need to be prepared for an interview, the child needs to be prepared for an interview and commitment to a prep program. Because we're not saying that that's it, like just because you haven't done well for semester 1, you can't do ATAR, but we need to be confident that you are committed to the rigor that ATAR will bring, okay? This special consideration for ATAR program will also mean that you will also be placed in the Uni-Ready course as well. So if you don't get the ATAR pathway, you will be placed in the Uni-Ready program instead. So you'll do a general course with the Uni-Ready program, because I guess the intention is that eventually you'll get to university. So between now and whenever TAFE application close, if your child has also submitted a bulk links application, you'll also be notified as such. Or if your child needs to do English as an additional language or dialect, or if your child has to choose an OLNA program because they haven't completed most of their OLNA or they haven't passed most of their OLNA requirements. And the last one there is if they also have been invited to do the Access Up program. And that is a totally different program that applies for students who will be doing a separate pathway, not a general pathway either. So over the next few weeks, conversations are already happening in the classroom. Even today, for example, Rebecca organized for the defense course, come in and have a chat with our students. So lots of those opportunities are abound. Week 6 will have our presentations, but week 9, that's the one that will have all the callers and things going around talking to all of our students. So in week 9, if you were to ask your students what kind of subjects, what kind of courses they will be interested in, they should know by then. So after you have all that, you get their grades, the reports at the end of the term, and you have a conversation over the holidays. The subject selection online process will open only in week 2, Thursday, and that is really allowing you to have enough time to go through some of the information. There'll also be other information, like for example, the senior school handbook will also be available online on our website by that stage. There will be some new subject offerings and certificates as well, so that making sure that you are aware of all that is being offered at Fremantle. But all selections must really be complete by the end of week 3 term. So just to give you guys an idea, last year when we opened, and there were particular subjects that were so popular that apparently within 10 minutes all of those spaces were taken up. So if there is a particular subject that your child wants, I would suggest that you talk about it prior to when the date will be open, so that your child doesn't miss out. If they miss out anyways, just choose another subject on that line, And then we'll have there'll be an opportunity for counselling, and we'll talk about that as well, because there might be, some students might decide otherwise, might go on, and so, your child will be next in line. It is to be noted that 50% payment for Year 11 courses need to be paid by the end of this year, especially if it's a course that's quite expensive. And then there's also the other bit that we want to talk about is the fact that all our certificates are all done online now. So there is a big push for your child to have their own device. So if it's something that you're thinking about from now, you might include that as part of an expenditure for the end of the year. So just a reminder, guys. ATAR programs are very much, really rely on the fact that your child is able to do research, to do homework, and everything's on Connect now. So it really does help the child if they have their own device. Okay, so requirements on what particular device that will be made known as well on our website soon enough. Okay, so they're just updating it at the moment. So everything here really, all the information that you need would still be on our website. Just a note there, guys, not to use Internet Explorer because there are some glitches there. So using Firefox or Google Chrome would be best. And it's just under student information. So if you go to our website, the course selection process is there. Of course, it's not live now. You can have a look at it though. And then you click on this thing that says SSO very easily, and then you will be given a login. Okay? And so now you can't do anything yet because you don't have a login, so you can just look at the little web browser there. And they'll just step you through how to log in, etc. If you do forget your password, please. The reason why we open it on Thursday and not on Friday night is that over the weekend you guys can't log in. So if you can't log in on Thursday, quickly call us on a Friday. We'll sort you out. And then they have the welcome page there. And depending on whether your child has qualified for ATAR pathway or Vocational, etc., those will be the choices made available to you. So if your child has submitted a Vocational application, has also qualified for ATAR, then all of the bits there on the bottom will all be green. So they can choose whichever one they want. So if they haven't qualified for ATAR and they haven't submitted a Vocational application, there's just one pathway, which is general, so they just pick that one. All right, and then all the subjects that are available to them will be placed there as well. If they do not qualify for a particular math course, for example, it will not be made available to them. So really, they can only choose the subjects that are made available to them. So if, let's say, for example, there is a subject that you really want to do at this point, for example, or even at the point of, I want my child, because it's not about what you want, it's about what your child wants to do. My child wants to do ATAR and he believes that he can, then, we have the conversation as part of the counseling process. So you will be invited to a counseling meeting as well. Okay? And then the team will approve or decline it. And then you're done. Okay? All this information will also be sent out to you closer to the date. Okay, so no one hesitate not to grab copies on today. Now, key staff in the subject selection process. So at this point in time, especially prior to exams, heads of learning, those are the people that you probably need to talk to, and also their teachers, of course, because they will be the ones who would really be able to see whether your child will be able to do well in particular subjects. Support staff there, Mr. Kennington, our Year 9-10 Student Services Manager, Ms. Wilson, who you guys right outside there, our Year 10 Coordinator, who has already helped some of our students do some applications for TAFE, so Ms. Faye, who is our WAIT Coordinator, and then for SLP ASD students, Mr. Jack Harper, who is our support teacher there for those particular students. Our vet team, okay, and then we have our career counselors. We have Miss McLaren, so Rebecca. We have Sarah Hotley, who is our Year 11-12 Student Services Manager. Nathan Dines, who is our Follow the Dream Coordinator, and of course, Business Principals. Okay. At this point, For you to continue your conversations with your students, I'm going to ask Rebecca to come up and finish us off.
Hi everyone, so I'm Rebecca McClellan. I'm very lucky to be the career practitioner at Fremantle College. I have the best job. Don't tell everybody else because everybody will want it. It's a fantastic job because I get to interact with every student from year 7 to 12. So my job really is about supporting students, parents and teachers in career development across the whole school. And we've really jumped into it really deep this year. So this is the first year that we've had a career practitioner at Fremantle College, and I'm one of 70 that's been based around Western Australia because of a promise that Mark McGowan made when he was elected. So through this support that I give, where we've taken on a WE3 model, which is to be exposed to as many different jobs because there's so many thousands of jobs now, jobs we've never even heard of. So we're exposing, especially the year 10s, to thousands of jobs. We are giving them a chance to explore them. So last couple of weeks ago they went to the expo. We've had lots of people coming out to visit them and talk to them. They've had lots of opportunities. I've been in probably every single year 10 class by now, at least once. And I will be in there for 3 complete lessons by the end of this term, talking to them and hearing about their dreams and their aspirations and all these fantastic things that they want to do. They're so excited and they're just such lovely kids that they make me excited about doing my job. The great thing about this is that they've all got now an account on My Futures that you can talk to them about. They've all started a digital portfolio, most of them, and they've all started their own individual pathway planning booklet, which will carry on to the end of year 12. All of these things that they've started this year in year 10 will all carry on to year 12, and they'll be able to take their digital portfolio home with them and keep going with it for the next, I don't know how many years throughout their career. So one really important thing that I would like to share with you today is please don't underestimate your influence on your children. I've got 4 children. My youngest is 16, my eldest is 29, and I know once they hit being a teenager, you think to yourself, they're not really listening to me anymore. But through all the research, all the studies that have been done, they've found that parents have the absolute most influence on their children's career decision making. So please don't underestimate your influence. If you are struggling, and believe me, I have struggled. I've struggled through all 4 of them, trying to talk to them about what they could do, or maybe the pathways that they've chosen I haven't always liked. But it's about them. They know themselves, they know what they want to do, and we're here to support them to reach their dreams and their aspirations. So outside in the foyer, you'll see these posters. And if you scan the URL, it will take you to a whole realm of information about how to have really good career conversations with your children and what to talk to them about. There's also all the information you need on different pathways, what universities are expecting, what vet courses they can do, how each one works. So the Department of Education has put this together, and it is an absolutely fantastic resource. So please scan it on your way out and make sure you have a look at it, because really your influence is so important. The other thing I wanted to say was if anyone is stuck and you would like to come in and have a meeting with me, I've already met with a lot of parents. Some of them like to come in and meet with their students as well. I'm open to anything. You can just ring and ask to speak to me. So it's lovely to meet you all, and I'm really excited about what's coming up.